When I started working from home, every single waking hour was a potential hour to work, and that can be very unhealthy for you. You want to have some time where the laptop is off, the phone is off, where you're focusing on downtime and taking care of yourself. Hello there, this is Yogi. I am a career and life coach, and I help people develop self-trust, have difficult and uncomfortable conversations that led to clarification, that lead them to align with the people around them and have focus on what people really want to do in the long run. Today, we are talking about a topic that has become very popular after COVID: remote work success strategies. I have been working remotely ever since I left Facebook in 2017. So even before COVID, for 2-3 years, I was working remotely. And I ran into a lot of challenges that I saw people run during the COVID time a couple of years before everybody. And those challenges taught me a lot about how to do remote work successfully. Today, we are going to talk about these 6 different strategies: building relationships, having your own structure, time logging, support network, self-care and confidence, and finally seeking feedback and appreciation. So let's get started. Number 1, building relationships. Sometimes when we are working remotely, we only see the person either through audio on the phone call or sometimes only through Zoom video call or Google Meet, and we lose the touch with the 3-dimensional whole person behind the screen. And it's important to build the relationship, build the rapport with people we are working with. This is best done by face-to-face communication, ideally with video, and then really getting to know people, not just in the context of what you're working with them, but also behind the scene of what they're going through, what their challenges are, and what takes them. When we are working in isolation, sometimes we forget that people we are talking to, we are only seeing 1 or 2 dimensions of their personality, but their personality, their being is a lot more diverse and complex than what we are seeing. And it's important to build relationship to get to know that complexity of their personality. That really makes our remote work more effective and successful. The second piece to building a successful remote work habit is to have your own structure. When I left my corporate work in 2017, for the first few months, I had a really hard time doing anything. I had all the freedom in the world. I had choice to do anything, everything, and nothing. And it was really difficult to do anything because I didn't have any structure. When I used to go to work, I would go to work at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. There was very clear expectation, either from the management, from my peers, or from myself, what I needed to do. When I was not working and when I was working by myself, there was no such structure. And putting that structure in place was very important to developing the habit of remote work. There are various ways of doing it. One way that people do is to set regular work hours, and sometimes people change into different clothes for work, even when they are working at home in their own bedroom or in their own home office. But having that structure helps them shift their gear and start working effectively. Another thing that really helps is to have routines. The start of the workday routine, end of the workday routine, or other routines that you find helpful. Maybe the end of the meeting routine, beginning of the meeting routine, whatever routines are helpful and habits are helpful for you, do those. And the third such thing that you can develop is to have consistency and discipline around taking breaks. If you just go from one meeting to the next on Zoom or video call, there's no break. And without break, we become less and less effective. So it's important to take breaks on a regular basis. Various research suggests that you don't want to be working for more than 50 minutes at a stretch. And other times people even suggest not working for more than half an hour, 25 minutes at a stretch. So you want to even get up, take a break only for 20, 30, 40 seconds, but take a break regularly. So these are some of the ways to develop the structure, and you can come up with your own ways to develop the structure to make yourself more effective while working from home. One more thing, speaking of developing your own structure, it's helpful to have a designated workplace in the house. It doesn't have to be a separate room, but someplace you typically work. I had a client who used to work from their breakfast nook, and they had a really hard time focusing. Once we were able to set a space for her to work from their office, from a room in their house, they are a lot more effective in their remote work now. The next tip is logging your time. Not just logging, but the bigger idea here is to know where your time is going. Sometimes hours and days can blend into each other when we don't know what we are accomplishing. I tend to do every half an hour or every hour what I've been focusing on, what I've been doing. So when by the end of the day, sometimes if I don't feel good about what I accomplished, I can look through the day, look through my log and see, oh, I did this, I did that, and the couple of things I did not accomplish. But if I don't have the log, then the only thing that used to come to my mind is I didn't accomplish this, but I didn't focus on what I did accomplish. And a time log or some way of jotting down what you have been working on can be really helpful and beneficial for your own mental health and appreciating yourself and your accomplishments. The next tip for strong remote work ethic is to develop support network for people who are in a similar position as you are. Sometimes we can feel very lonely, that the kind of problems and the internal struggle we are facing are just our own. But typically they are not our own. We are not alone in these challenges, and having a support network, it could be just the work colleagues, could be friends, and talking to them on a regular basis can be very beneficial for mental health, could be very beneficial for a remote work ethic. This is true generally for any work, but for remote work especially, it's important to have a good support network. The support network could come in various forms. It could be friends, it could be colleagues at work, it could be a mentor, it could be a coach. It can manifest in various different ways, but it's good to have some support network. The next topic that we want to talk about is self-care and self-confidence. A lot of times, if we are changing the place to work, for example, if you're going to work in office, then there is movement involved. There is different environment involved. But if you're working at home, it can be very monotonous. So it's important to take care of yourself even more importantly than if you were going to office. And some of the things you can do is to develop a mindfulness practice, go out for exercise regularly. Because in the beginning, when I was starting to do remote work in 2018, sometimes I would take only a couple thousand steps in the whole day. And that's not nearly enough exercise in the day. So you want to be moving around and move your body. You want to be eating on time. If you go to office, then there's a lunch hour. People typically go to lunch together. But if you're working from home, sometimes meetings can blend into each other and you don't have any time to eat. But you want to take some time to eat a healthy meal. Also, you want to develop a consistent bedtime routine so you can get enough sleep for taking care of yourself. When I started working from home, every single waking hour was a potential hour to work, and that can be very unhealthy for you. You want to have some time where the laptop is off, the phone is off, where you're focusing on downtime and taking care of yourself. Other than self-care, you also want to work on your self-confidence. For example, if you're not feeling good about your skills and you would like to feel good professionally, it's important to develop some skills, take some online courses, spend time on your own growth, personal and professional. And finally, to develop a strong remote work ethic, we want to seek feedback from people and seek appreciation from people so we know how things are going. Sometimes we can get in our own head and start to criticize ourselves too much. Or on the other side, sometimes we don't seek criticism and only want to hear good things. And either way, we can be very skewed about our own perception. So it's important to seek feedback, seek appreciation, how we are doing, what we can do better. And this can be done more effectively if you take care of yourself, feel self-confident, then you can actually seek other people's feedback and appreciation also. So develop some sort of a routine to seek feedback and appreciation from your manager, from your peers, from your subordinates, and people involved in your work life. At the end of the day, what really matters is what you think of yourself. But that perception is also influenced by what other people think of you. So you want to hear from other people also. So there you have it. 6 different strategies to develop a strong remote work ethic. Build relationships with people and get to know the person behind the screen. Have your own structure so days and hours don't blend into each other. Have some sort of a time log where you can reflect back and see how things are going, what you accomplished also, not just focus on what you have not accomplished. Have a support network of friends, colleagues, mentors, coaches, whichever support network will help you be effective. Take care of yourself by developing mindfulness, exercise, diet, and sleep routines, and also learning and developing yourself personally and professionally. And finally, seek honest feedback and appreciation from people to develop an unbiased perception of yourself. That's all for today. I would love to hear from you what kinds of strategies you have found helpful to develop a remote work environment that has been beneficial for you. I would love to hear from you, and so would my listeners. So please write down in comments here. Thank you.